Hi everyone, I'm Chris Ho and I'm here with Lucy today to talk about Max Weber. The first thing to say about Max Weber is unlike your barbecue, it's pronounced Weber because he was German. So that's a little trick from me. But Lucy is going to tell us about Max Weber. So you've probably just watched a video about Marx, and the first question we're going to ask Lucy is, well, what is the difference between Marx and Weber in terms of how they view class?
Thanks, Chris. There are many more differences between Marx and Weber than I'm going to cover today, but an important one for students to understand in first year is that similar to Marx, Weber also looked at the economy as the basis of class and saw that economics formed what, or determined what someone's class was. But he didn't think it was about the mode of production, he thought it was about the market. So he saw that someone's position in the market is what determined their class. The other thing that he looked at was the idea of status. So he saw that there were social and cultural elements in determining someone's class as well as their position in the market.
So how exactly does the market determine your class status?
Okay, so for Weber, he didn't think that different classes were necessarily in conflict with each other. He saw that people from different classes come together in the marketplace where they're either trying to sell certain skills and time and labour, or trying to purchase them, and that it was the market, the laws of supply and demand, that will set a value for a particular set of skills. And so he saw that industrialised society was also becoming increasingly specialised. And I'm just wondering if I'm getting ahead here.
That's cool, that's in this section here.
Okay, cool. So yes, he saw that if you have a highly specialised skill that is also in high demand, then there's going to be a high value placed on that skill. Whereas if you had perhaps low specialisation, so a lot of other people have a very similar skill set to you, then you're going to need really high demand in order to get a high value for your wages. And we did see that in Australia very recently during the mining boom, where they needed a lot of labour to get the iron ore out of the ground, and so people that didn't have a particular skill but they had labour to sell could demand very high wages and indeed were earning six-figure salaries. So, but now that the mining boom has dropped off, what we're seeing is a lot of those workers are now either out of work or in much lower paid jobs.
Okay. And what does all that mean for class consciousness?
Well, it means quite a lot for class consciousness. So for Weber, he didn't see, in the way that Marx saw that if you have a shared class position, then you have shared interests, and that those shared interests can form the basis for class consciousness and to become a class for itself. Weber disagreed with that. He said that workers in the market are just as likely to be in competition with each other as they are to act in solidarity with one another. So he was quite distinct from Marx in that sense, that a lot less about solidarity and class consciousness and much more about competition.
Mm-hmm. And I guess that probably explains partly why there was no huge social movement that was created in the, on the basis of Weber's philosophies as compared to Marx.
That's right. It is a much more individualistic and I guess aspirational sort of understanding of class.
So under Weber's theory of class, you can improve your skills and get higher wages.
Yes. For Weber, class mobility was much more possible. It was much easier than Marx saw it as. So for Weber, he saw that if you could learn a new skill or improve your skill or read well which direction the economy is going in and get the right specialisation for where you're going, then you're going to be able to demand a higher value, which is both wages and conditions in the labour marketplace. And that's one of the reasons why we're seeing such enormous growth in the education sector in Australia at the moment. It's very much kind of based on this idea that if you improve your skill set, then you can be upwardly mobile.
So if you could have predicted the mining boom, you would have gone ahead and enrolled in a mining engineering course and really cashed in.
Exactly.
Right.
And then you'd be rolling in it now.
Great. All right.
On that class mobility, he didn't see it as totally determined by money, though. So he said you can earn more money and get better conditions and have a degree of mobility based on your specialisation. But he also recognised that social class has an element of lifestyle, culture, taste, status to it. So again, to use the mining boom analogy, you might have a haul pack driver, for example, who was really needed during the boom, earning 150,000 a year. I'm not exactly sure what haul pack drivers earned, but earning a really good income. And that might be a similar income to a law graduate that's a few years out. So they've got the same income, are they the same class? And so Weber would be saying there's a whole load of other things in there that police class boundaries, and he did see it as, he talked about social closure, that the higher classes that have a certain level of status and esteem will perform social closure to prevent too much movement across those boundaries.
Mm-hmm. And I guess this is why you have terms like bogans, right? Because
Yes.
people are trying to police those class boundaries.
Absolutely, yes. Bogans and hipsters and a whole load of other things. But I think that that's something that we're going to talk about a little bit more when we get to the Bourdieu video, because he really goes into some of those other elements of class much more strongly.
All right, and that's coming up very shortly.
It certainly is.
Thanks, Lucy.
Thank you.